To really go to the root of it, I think you would have to start, I would say when I was 8 years old, Sammy Davis Jr. introduced me to Quincy Jones. I'll never forget it. And that I heard him say something like that, and I just tucked it away subconsciously and never mentioned it. This is my first time mentioning it publicly. But I never thought about seeing Quincy again. So years later, Motown was preparing to do this movie called The Wiz. And it was with Diana Ross, myself, Nipsey, myself, and Horn. Barry Gordy recommended that I should play the Scarecrow, so I did. So we made this film, and I enjoyed it. And Quincy Jones happened to be the man who's doing the music. And now I've heard of Quincy before when I was in Indiana as a child, because my father used to buy jazz albums, and I knew him as a jazz musician. What I do is when I work, I'll do a raggedy, rough version, just to hear the chorus, see how much I like the chorus. If it works for me that way, when it's raggedy, then I know you really go in. That's at home.
Is it?
That's Janet, Randy, me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Janet and I are going, who? There it is. The dance was very important because we had a, Quincy calls me a nickname.
Smelly.
Smelly came from because, well, Spielberg calls me that because, especially then, I say some swear words now, especially then you couldn't get me to swear. So I said, that's a smelly song. I mean, so great. You're engrossed in it, and so he would call me Smelly. Working with Quincy is just wonderful because he lets you experiment and do your thing, and he's genius enough to stay out of the way of the music. And if there's an element to be added, he'll add it. And he hears these little things, like for instance in Billie Jean, I came with this piece of a bass lick and the melody and the whole composition I brought. But then from listening, he'll add a nice riff. Rod Temperton came in the studio and he came with this killer. It's this little German guy from Worms, Germany. This little white guy from Worms, Germany comes with this and this whole melody and the chorus rock with you. Wow. So when I heard that, I said, okay, I have to really work now. So every time Rod would present something, I would present something, and we formed a kind of friendly competition. But I love working like that because I used to read about how Walt Disney used to, if they were working on Bambi or any animated show, they'd put a deer in the middle of the floor and make the animators kind of compete on different styles of drawing the deer. So whoever had the most stylized effect that Walt liked, and he would pick that, and they would kind of compete. It was like a friendly thing, but it was competition because it breeds higher effort. So whenever Rod would bring something, I would bring something. He would bring something, I would bring something else. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I used to always study composition. And it was Tchaikovsky that influenced me the most, I think. And of course, Debussy, who I love very much. But I love, like, if you take an album like Nutcracker Suite, every song is a killer. Every one. And I said to myself, why can't there be a pop album or an album with every... Because people used to do albums where you would get one good song and the rest were like B-sides, or they would call them album songs. And I would always say to myself, why can't every one be like a hit song? Why can't every song be so great that people would want to buy it, or you could release it as a single, you know, everyone could be a single. So I always tried to strive for that, and that was my purpose for the next album that I did. That was the whole idea. I wanted us to be able to just put anyone out that we wanted. Yeah, and I worked hard for it. It came out right and said it. It broke my heart. But it broke my heart, but at the same time, it put it lit something that was just, oh my God. It said, I mean, I was like saying to myself, you know, I have to do something where it's refused to be ignored. I mean, and I came with the Thriller, and every time I was trying to always outdo myself, and Billie Jean, they said we won't play it. So Walter Yetnikoff, who was president of Sony at the time, he said, okay, we're pulling Streisand, we're pulling Berlin, we're pulling Chicago, and when they played it, it set the all-time record. And they were asking for everything we had. They said we're pulling Streisand, we're pulling Chicago, we're pulling Neil Diamond. That's what Walter Yevnikov said. And after they played it, they were knocking our door down because it brought in. Then Prince came. It opened the door for Prince and all the other black artists who, because it was 24-hour heavy metal, which is a potpourri of crazy images.
Right.
And they came to me so many times in the past, and they said, "Michael, if it wasn't for you, there would be no MTV." They told me that over and over personally. I always want to do music that influence and inspire people, each generation. I mean, well, let's face it. I mean, who wants mortality? I mean, everybody wants immortality. You want what you create to live, be it sculpture or painting or music or composition. Like Michelangelo said, you know, I know the creator will go, but his work survives. That is why to escape death, I attempt to bind my soul to my work. And that's how I feel. I give my all when I work. Because I wanted to just live and just give all that I had, you know? Yeah, it has to be that way.